I quit my full-time job. What have I done? So in this video, I'm going to give you a bit of a life update around me and around the self-publishing empire that I'm trying to build here on YouTube and on Amazon KDP. So last summer, I was working a job that I absolutely hated. If my old boss is watching this, I'm sorry. But I was really unhappy in that job. And it got to the point of, for the first time in my life, I handed my resignation letter in without another job to go to. Now, luckily for me, I was building this side hustle in the background, and it was just about enough to cover the mortgage payments. So now that is really scary, right? So it was August of last year that I quit my job. And since then, I've been doing this full time. Now, I've had a little bit of freelance income here and there, but I've been focusing on building my self-publishing empire out, which is selling books on Amazon KDP and then documenting it here on YouTube and also helping other people as well. Now, I'm sure to many of you that sounds pretty scary, right? You know, I'm not earning big incomes through Amazon and YouTube yet. You know, you can go through and see my income videos and you can see that I'm not making that much just from one income stream. And that is why I've got multiple income streams every month. So I've kind of visualized this out just to kind of show you what I mean, right? So this was my full-time income. And when I was working a full-time job, it was fantastic. I knew how much I was getting every month, and that was this square here. Now that I'm self-employed and building my business out, I have multiple income streams that are nowhere near the same size of this full-time income. So I make some money selling books on Amazon KDP. I then make some money through YouTube AdSense. So basically Google will pay a certain amount for advertisers to, put ads on these videos. I then do a little bit of freelance marketing. I've got an absolutely lovely client who I work for part-time, helping to build their business as well. I have YouTube sponsors, so that's Everbee, who I partner with on the Etsy content on this channel. And then I make the tiniest amount of affiliate income a month. We're talking sort of $50 a month at the moment, if I'm lucky. And then altogether, that kind of makes up, I don't know, maybe like 70% of what my full-time income was. So I'm down on money to what I was making in my full-time income. But the good thing about this is all of these squares here on screen now have the opportunity to grow. And then I also have the opportunity to add in additional revenue streams and add in additional squares into this to fill out that square to reach what my full-time income was before I went self-employed. So recently I've been investigating a few different things. I've tried Etsy, I've tried Fiverr a little bit. And the latest one for me is investigating the Amazon Influencer Program, where I basically make review videos and then get paid if people buy them after watching the video. So that's something that I'll keep you guys updated with. But in terms of quitting my job and going full-time on this, it's been one hell of a ride. So I wanted to break down the good, the bad, and maybe give you some advice as well if it's something that you're thinking about doing in the future. So one of the important caveats for me is that I do have a lot of advertising and marketing experience. So I feel slightly less pressure on if this goes tits up. I feel like I could get more freelance work if I needed to. And potentially it wouldn't be that hard to get another job, I hope, if I ever needed to. Now, I know reality isn't always that easy, but I have faith in myself and my skill set that if I needed to get a job, I could get a job. And the good things about that is that I'm able to focus on my book publishing career, my YouTube videos full time. That means I make more books, I make more videos, I make better books, I make better videos. And hopefully this will continue to scale to the point where those boxes get bigger and I'm making more money on all of my income streams. And what's amazing is basically everything that I'm doing for myself, for my business, is building for the future. I'm not lining the pockets of someone else. I'm lining my pockets. Well, at least in the future anyway, that's the hope. One other huge positive of working for myself and quitting my job is the freedom. So I've got 2 dogs downstairs. If I ever want to go walk them at 3 p.m, I can. And I do push myself very hard, but if I want a break, I'll go take one. That, along with not having people telling you what to do, where to go, my mental health is so much better as well. And whilst I'm not making as much money as I did before, the importance of mental health is incredible. And as long as I'm making enough money to pay the rent, pay the bills, I am happy at the moment with the idea that I'm going to keep scaling. Now, let's focus on the bad. Number one, as expected, is I am making less money. So before, when I was making a decent income, I was able to put money into my pension, I was putting money into savings, And that's taken a little bit of a stop at the moment because I'm just at that level where I'm supporting myself, but I'm not really building towards a future at the moment. That is a short-term negative, but the hope is it's a long-term positive because my income streams are going to keep growing and therefore I'll make more in the future than I did in the past. However, that is not guaranteed. So I can feel anxious sometimes about how much money I'll make in the fluctuation in income. So some days on Amazon KDP, I'll check in and I've made $80, $90 in a day. Some days I'll check in and I've made $30 and I'm kind of like, what's going on? I can't put food on the table. So it does fluctuate, and it's the same with all income streams. And there's also the kind of worry that what if one of the income streams went away? So, my freelance marketing, my YouTube channel, some of my books, what if some of them fell off, some of them disappeared? That would be a worry, but I have every faith that if one income stream lowered or disappeared, I could find another income stream to focus on and to grow it. Now, if your side hustle is bringing you in money, you might be thinking, when is the right time for me to quit my job? Now, I'll just say that I'm quite lucky in the fact that I don't have any kids to support at the moment. And also my wife, my partner, she's on a full-time income as well. So literally, if worse came to worse and my earnings went down to nothing, we would be fine. I've got some savings and my wife is earning. So I have a safety buffer, and that safety buffer is incredibly important. So the first thing I'd say to you is, do you have a safety net? Whether that's another person that can help or whether it's your savings, I'd say only consider going full-time on your side hustle if you have a safety net. Now, after that, I think the best thing you can ask yourself is, what is the minimum amount every month I need to survive? So that is listing down all of the items that are going out of your bank account on a monthly basis. So your mortgage or your rent, your bills, the costs for food, petrol, any insurance, etc. So get all of those hard costs down and work out how much you need to survive a month. Now, if your side hustle is hitting those amounts, I think you can start considering going full time. Now, it also depends on your risk aversion. Some people will want to make more than they did in their full-time job before going full-time self-employed, whereas other people like me just want to get there as quickly as possible and focus on themselves. But what I will say is try and make sure that you're at least hitting what you need to do to survive in terms of income. Now, as we kind of said with the safety net element, is if you have skills that you can freelance out, to me, that makes it a little less scary. It's kind of like a backup option, or if you ever need to increase your income for a few months, you've got the option to freelance and do some extra work. So if I'm like running really low on money and feeling a bit worried, I would offer myself out there as a freelancer. And then the main thing is probably, do you have other people who rely on you? Do you have kids? Because I feel like if I had kids at the moment, I wouldn't have taken this risk at that point of my earnings. I have a mortgage, I have a wife, but generally I'm kind of focused on staying level at the moment and growing. At the moment, I'm kind of at the level where I'm just focusing on building this out and scaling, but I don't have to pay for nursery, for example. It's like my outgoings are quite minimum. And that's why I've been able to take this leap and start this journey full time. So when you're thinking about if it's time for you, if you've got people who rely on you, that's an additional thing that you just need to consider. But what I will say is it's been the best decision I've ever made. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. And whilst I have a little less money, I'm not paying for things like transport into the office. I'm not paying for lunches out in London. And so that is a little bit of a cost saving. And even though I'm maybe making around 70% of what I was when I was full-time employed, I don't think that kind of 30% that's missing at the moment, my mental health and my happiness levels more than makes up for that. And the idea for me is I want to grow it, I want to get bigger, and hopefully being full-time in it, I can get there a little bit quicker. So that is a little life update from me. I'm doing this full-time now. If you've got any questions about it, drop a comment below. Else, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.